Welcome to the Grooming next door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
But now my main area of expertise is canines. Dogs, to the layperson.
I'm your co-host, Chris Green.
And I'm Sarah Green.
Have a pet-tastic week.
And remember, folks, life is short. Play with your pet.
Okay, gotta go at my bedtime.
And now our feature presentation.
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you. My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk, squirrel.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of their 2015 mini-series of The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the ever-intelligent, wonderful Sarah.
Hello.
All right, now, I want to thank everybody who watched last week's video podcast. We had a lot of information from a lot of people from all over the place. I think one of my favorite moments I actually had was a comment from somebody from Australia. It's always so amazing to actually hear people watching and listening to our stuff from all over the world. It is humbling and entertaining at the same time. All right, so this episode is going to actually talk about hoarding dogs. The dog that you're seeing on your screen, this is her very first bath. She's never had a bath before, and you want to tell the story behind this.
Well, this particular dog, her name's Melody. We've named her Melody. Well, Claire did. And her and her sister Lily came from, like Chris said, a hoarding situation where they didn't get as much food as they should have. They ran around in like a pack. They've never seen a veterinarian. They've never been washed.
Which is evident right now what you're looking at. It took her a few seconds, as you can tell, to get her to calm down, just so that she would be able to understand what this water was. But she calmed down.
Yeah, she calmed down pretty quickly, actually. Yeah. They've been really good. What the lucky part here is that even though they were from a hoarding situation, they were not abused. A lot of times when it comes to hoarding, sometimes they are abused. I did some simple tests where I raised my hand up real quick and jumped at him, or went to go and like I was pretending to go hit him, and they didn't do any kind of sudden jerking back, no growling, no signs of being hand shy, which is fantastic.
But very emaciated.
Yes, they were. The situation started out where this gentleman who was hoarding these dogs ended up passing away, and his family found him days later. Now, just in a few days, they could have sunk in pretty good, where you see all their bones, but I had a feeling they were pretty skinny before he died anyways.
Yeah, they had to be.
Because when you had a hoarding situation of 24 plus dogs and I don't know how many stray cats, it's hard to find enough food or support enough dogs to where they're healthy, or at least have some kind of weight on them. Melody here, she was not the worst of the skinny dogs. She was, you saw every single rib that she had, and her midsection extremely sucked in.
Oh yeah, actually this is better than when we first actually got her. This was shot on, I think, Thursday, and we got her on Sunday. If you were listening to our original podcast, our audio podcast, we alluded to it in the beginning, somewhere in the beginning.
We didn't quite know if we were going to actually come in possession of these pets, or these pups. We were one of the emergency housing, last case scenario housing, due to the fact that they were staying in our garage. Our garage is not heated, and it's not exactly prepared to have two dogs there.
But it's better than sleeping outside, which is what they had been doing for who knows how long.
Yes, and the weather had dropped down below freezing a couple of those nights. The wind chill was insane. So being in a garage was much better than being out in the elements. And so we were called the emergency fosters, emergency housing. As you know, we already have a full house. We have 3 dogs and 3 cats. We can't afford to have any more pets in our house, especially when we don't know anything about these dogs. These dogs could have been heartworm positive. They could have mange.
Parvo.
They could bring in parvo, but most of the time with parvo, it's pretty evident when they're, diarrhea.
Yeah, but before
everywhere.
we actually saw... Actually, when we first got them, they had very loose stool.
Yeah, very loose stool. They were very nervous and upset. But what was great about Melody is that once Lily warmed up to us, Melody followed suit.
Yeah, very, very skittish when they first arrived. As you can tell, I mean, for a first time ever bath, she did really well. It was the beginning part that she was a little nervous about. She smelled terrible.
Oh, they had a smell of rank on them.
Yeah, feces, urine.
Dirt, just muddy smell. It was horrible.
You might as if you've ever been around a skunk dog before, that smelled better than what these guys smelled like. I was driving them into the salon, and I honestly thought that they had gone to the bathroom in our car.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no! I looked back, and there was nothing in the back seat, and then I just realized, oh my gosh, that's them.
And I cleared out our garage and put up little perimeters, hopefully they stay inside. No, they decided to climb up and over my perimeter, and Melody here is a climber. She has climbed up to the very tip top of all of our stuff in the garage. And I was very quick to move everything, so it's just pretty much a pile of stuff. And I'm notorious about putting old clothes in bags and sorting them out later. So there was bags and palm bags of old clothes.
It's a garage. And that's the thing about a garage. It's all the stuff that you're not using.
And we're not handymen, so we don't have a workspace in there.
No, what you're listening to, this is where my handiness comes from. I'm a tech kind of person. I don't know anything else.
And then
I can't put an IKEA bookcase together.
And my good-for-nothing brother took all the tools, so I don't have any way of, crafting anything on my own. Because I am...
Yeah, I had a missed shot right there. As I did that, I had said to myself, "Oh, I know we're gonna joke about me when I do it."
Premature squeezing.
Oh,
shampoo everywhere.
It happens. It happens to some guys. Okay.
So, we were cleaning out the garage. Got them in there. Nowhere near housebroken.
No.
Oh, the amount of poop everywhere is insane.
Every day.
Insane.
And we have tried taking them out for a walk. The first time on a leash.
They refuse to go to the bathroom while on the leash.
Yeah, they won't. And I mean, even if they go to areas that we know our dogs would go to, the smell, you would think that by instinct. Go ahead.
There was something you just did on the video where you were taking the nozzle and spraying the shampoo in between the toes.
Yes.
That is extremely important, especially dogs that live outside. If they're constantly in a wet climate with their feet, they can get any kind of bacteria. They can get infections, yeast infections, in between the toes. So what's great about our proportioner with their shampoo and everything mixed together, it helps break apart anything that's down there.
Before I stop you, that was a tick that I saw was dead, but it was a tick. There's going to be one that I actually pull off here in a second. Yes, they are littered with ticks. I only saw 2 on this one at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think they're littered with ticks.
Yeah,
I think there's just a couple.
2 was the, I guess, not littered, but had a couple on it.
No, trust me. Groom long enough during the summer, you'll find littered
Springtime
ticks.
Is the worst. Oh boy, spring into summer. Oh gosh. Yeah, you'll notice. I'll pull one off in a second here, but and then of course afterwards, here's something I don't think anybody would actually understand. When you're working with ticks. And springtime, like Sarah said, spring and summertime, we deal with it all the time. Every groomer will attest to this. Once you see one, and you know you're dealing with it, the first thing you're thinking is, oh gosh, I hope it's not going to climb on me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, when starting out in California grooming, I was in Orange County. I was about 30, 40 minutes from the beach. We didn't have ticks.
No, didn't even know what a tick was until I got here.
The policy of the big box pet store I worked at was that if you saw one tick, the dog had to go home. And I called an owner, and the owner was like, it's just a tick. Here, let me remove it, and then you can continue. I'm like, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're removing a tick all by yourself. You need to go find a vet.
Yeah.
And then here, I get here, and I start over at Carol's, and I see a tick. I'm like, Carol, what do I do? And she goes, you city girls, I swear. And then from then on, it became a pro at removing ticks. Because you got to be careful. When you remove a tick, you don't want to pull to the point real quick where the body snaps off and you leave the head and the skin. So you got to do it nice and slow and get closer to the head part so that the head comes out of the skin. Because what ticks do is they bury their head into the skin and they start feeding from there.
I think the worst thing that ever happened to me when it came to a tick was going to a movie theater, and we walked out, and this was last year when we were seeing Captain America.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yep. Oh, here I go. I see one. So I'm gonna take it off. It's obviously just on a tail. This wasn't a big deal. I just kind of take it off and.
Yeah, I don't think it was attached. I think it was just hanging out.
Yeah, it was
there.
just hanging. Because if it was attached, you could not rip it off like that. There's no way. I was just able to pull and it came right off. That's why I think that they were both dead. That's why I wasn't.
Yeah,
oh my
if
gosh.
they were already released, they were probably dead or dying. So yeah, we were at the movie theater. And you got bit in a sensitive area, and then I got bit under the arm.
I had it on my lower belly.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling something. I went, oh, God, that felt odd. And I kind of almost knew what that felt was. And I was like, oh, gosh.
I felt the stinging under my arm. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, you right away told me, I think I just, you actually looked and I got a tick on me.
No, I felt it and it wouldn't go away. And I looked at him, Chris, and I was like, I just got bit by a tick.
And when you said that, I'm like, oh, gosh. And then no sooner did you tell me, and I actually felt that little bite. And I'm like, oh. We went home and I had 2 or 3.
I don't know, but
yeah, it was
all
gross.
I know is us groomers, at least us, we go home after dealing with a tick-filled dog or a tick day, and we do.
And you get ticked off.
Yes. And then we put our hands up, tick check,
oh.
and we go through ourselves. And
I think we should just call it the tic tac. And I'm pretty sure now, like I said, the Open, we're being watched in all countries all over the world, not just here. So maybe some of you actually never have heard of a tick. If you're in California, probably never really deal with it. So it was kind of one of those things. But yeah, it gets me all the time.
There's a Brad Paisley song, "Check You for Ticks."
Oh gosh. Oh, and by the way, I know we're sounding a little off this week. We actually are still recovering off of a really great cold that we got this week. We had to work throughout the whole week sick.
Thank you, Keith Husky.
Oh man, he gave us the worst. Thursday, we went to work on Thursday, and both of us had migraine headaches the entire day. So it was pretty bad.
Oh, it was the coughing, the not being able to breathe, can't taste anything.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
It was bad. Oh, that day. I remember this day. We had so many big dogs. Oh, and now we move over to Lily. Lily was actually my first one I did, but on the video it looks like my second, which is kind of funny. Man, we had so many big dogs that day. Craig had been working that day as well. So we were pushing out dog after dog. Obviously, we're not charging for these dogs. Oh, yeah, here we go with the first time in a bath.
Now, one thing I do want to make very perfectly clear right now is that we wouldn't have done this bath on Lily in the salon if we knew what we knew now.
Yeah, we actually found out some info about Lily that we did not know at the time.
Nobody really knew. I kind of looked at Lily. Her memory glands looked a little swollen. And they hung down, so I kind of assumed that she had a couple litters of puppies.
Yeah. That would have been my guess, too, because I thought
That's
that, too.
the way it looked.
Yeah.
When we just took her in for a heartworm check yesterday.
Which would have been Saturday for all of you who are actually listening in the future.
And the vet looked and felt around, and he said that, and we want to say thank you to Dr. Yankee for seeing them over at the Royal Animal Hospital. And said that she is about 30 days pregnant.
Yes. Now, we didn't know that. Of course, here we go again. You have a dog that is also emaciated.
Yes.
And it's very hard, especially when we first got them. Now, this is a couple days. This is 4 days, 5 days after being with us.
When we first got these dogs, I knew right off the bat when they're emaciated, you don't just feed them and feed them and feed them.
Right.
That's cause for bloat. I thought since the fact that she was so underweight that her belly was swollen because of, say, worms or something like that. And it wasn't really badly swollen. You can still see that she was sucked in. So we fed just a little at a time. Multiple meals, small meals.
Yes.
It started out with just rice and chicken and some dog food.
Well, we didn't know if they would actually eat dog food. This is another thing you have to worry about with dogs like this. You don't know if they're actually capable of eating dog food. They may never have had dog food. Belle was a good example to this. When we actually picked up Belle on the side of the road, she didn't eat dog food. She didn't know what dog food was.
Yeah.
And it took her... Oh my God!
Months.
Yeah, you were actually feeding her chicken and rice the entire time.
Sweet potatoes and peas. So, we started out with small meals. Well, when Dr. Yankee, oh my gosh,
Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on
took a look. She was 30 days pregnant, roughly. We would never have given her a bath here. Now, the reasoning for that can vary between each groomer. I do not want to touch a pregnant dog unless it is to do a sanitary or what's called a maternity cut, where you shave higher up, exposing the teats so the puppies can get to it quicker and easier. You could put the dog through just a crazy amount of stress and cause them to either go into an early labor or miscarry.
Well, as you can tell, she's obviously not in any kind of trauma. Look at those eyes. She's all just enjoying it. But that, like you said,
that's Lily in general.
That is Lily. Lily is sweet.
She is an awesome dog. If we didn't have Katana or Roxy, we would have taken Lily.
Yes.
And found homes for her puppies. But Lily
I'm gonna go sit. She likes to stand up on you. She likes to stand up and put...
she is a jumper.
She is a jumper. She likes to stand on two and put her paws on top of you. That's why, if you notice, I just gave her motion to go back down.
She's very smart, very intelligent. Our problem with her now, being pregnant, we're not going to force her through anything traumatic because we don't want her to miscarry. We don't want her to spring into early labor. Some groomers don't care. They'll do it anyways. They think it's just fine.
And they like to actually document that they did it.
It's like bringing in puppies that haven't had puppy shots yet into a salon. It's like, look, I understand you want to get the dogs used to getting them groomed, but when they're 3 weeks old is too soon.
All right, now this is this was shot from your phone. Everything will look out better from. I'll fix this part. But you'll actually see this is Lily, and you can't dry these dogs. They've never had dryers before. Now she's not growling. She's smiling at you.
She's a smiler. My Lily is a smiler. Big, huge teeth, just looking up. She was excited to see us.
All right, this is feeding time. We're kind of moving through things pretty quickly because we don't want everybody to actually have an hour-long show. It'll be a lot shorter this week on this, but they're still eating relatively fast. Now, when we
they've
first...
slowed down.
Yeah, they've slowed down a lot. That would have been gone. When we first put food down... Now, this is the Claire cam. This is at Claire's level, so you're actually seeing what it looks like when she sees things. They're still eating relatively fast. But if it would have been when they first walked in, nope. It was gone within a second.
Yeah, they like to share bowls. They like to go back and forth, back and forth. And, oh, wait, there's food over here. They're not food aggressive. They're not hand shy. I put my foot in their bowl once, and they just ate around my foot. I put my hand in there, and they ate around my hand.
Claire's the one who actually puts this bowl down. Puts both bowls down, and doesn't nip at her, doesn't do anything. I mean, they're not aggressive.
And then I had the garage all nice and neat, and they just wrecked it.
Oh, yeah.
They just took everything down. Everything just fell down. But
and as you can tell, you see how Claire picks up the bowl. No big deal. And that's the end of that. All right, so we're going to actually kind of put a close to this. This is the damaging part of hoarding. your good intentions that may start out of taking in 1 dog, 2 dogs, 10 dogs can become a real issue.
Yeah.
And this man was living in a house of feces and urine. He unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, hoarding is a disease.
Yes.
And if you watch hoarding on TLC and stuff, it's an actual mental disease that happens either from a dramatic experience or traumatic experience happening. It's unfortunate. But like I said, the only thing that is absolutely positive about this experience is that these dogs were never abused. At least the 2 that we have here, they do not know what abuse is. The unfortunate part, or being in a hoarding situation, they don't know how to listen.
Yeah.
Yet.
They're not housebroken, so they're moving on.
One of the reasons why we are emergency housing is because we do not have time to do this.
No.
We do not have time to do that when we have a full-time job, all our dogs, our child, everything going on.
Yeah, we're extremely busy.
And Kim is working extremely hard trying to find a rescue that will take a pregnant dog. We had a rescue out in St. Louis that would take them until we found out they were pregnant. Problem is trying to find a rescue for a pregnant dog is that you take one pregnant dog that could have up to 10 to 12 pups. That means you just inherited technically 13 dogs.
Yeah, it's
off of just one pregnant pup.
And look, this is where it comes down to when you were starting to do something that you thought was a good intention, it went seriously bad, seriously quickly. This is why it's so important that you get the opportunity to see what this looks like. Now, this is only two of the dogs. There was one thing we didn't mention is there was 24.
Oh, I did
altogether.
mention that.
Did you say
there
that?
was about 24 plus dogs.
Yeah, there was 24. The family of the deceased ended up taking, I think, was 4. I think. No more than 4. So that meant 20 dogs that needed to be put into housing, needed to, emergency housing, foster, all these different things.
I'll tell you one thing I do have to say. D-Claw from it's Dent County.
Yeah.
And P-Call and everybody enjoyed. It brings me hope for humanity once again. They found out about this situation, and within the weekend, this was done and taken care of. The dogs were moved out of that spot. Everybody worked so closely together. I just made like 4 or 5 new friends. Quite a few of them in St. Louis that were looking for the pup, that were taking the pups to them for emergency fostering or just being fostered in general, that's being sponsored by a nonprofit. So it is absolutely amazing how these folks came together and got this done. People who don't like each other got together and got this done.
Right.
Get this done. Got everything taken care of. And I just so thankful for each and every single one of the people that joined in, either donating food, their transportation, the gas money to get the dog from A to B, their time, their effort, and the folks that are doing the fostering. It is absolutely brilliant and amazing.
It is. So, like we said, this won't be a very long one. Recapping last week's podcast or video podcast, we know it was a long one, but we want you guys to really get an in-depth of what we are. You hear our podcast each week. You've heard how much we always, stress about giving a good bath and what needs to be done by a groomer. We showed that to you. This week we brought you a story that we are fortunate that we were able to help. And, we'll have more of these stories coming on. We've done it so many times, it seems like.
And I do like to apologize again. We were just getting off a week of being absolutely sick.
Oh, gosh,
so
yeah.
If we don't sound intelligent, if I know I stuttered quite a few times and stumbled over my words, we do apologize. I apologize for my part. Hopefully next week, once our sickness is gone, give you better quality of speaking.
I do hope so. I hope so myself for my own tongue. My own tongue. See, I'm doing it now.
No,
Boy.
I think it's time to stop.
I think it is. All right, everybody. Well, that concludes this week's video podcast by The Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me was Sarah. Go ahead. Say your normal line.
And Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Goodbye, everybody.